Hello, my today's topic is nanoparticular risk. So, let's begin with some questions. Have you ever read the ingredients of your makeup or your deodorant? Or do you know that your sunscreen contains a toxic substance that is dangerous for your health? The answers of these questions are important because in many cases, the nanoparticles are deadly but a silent pollutant. So, let's take a look. Nanoparticles are a very teeny molecules, of different materials. Those particles are used in many areas of our life, such as medicine, sewage treatment, and in general, in all the industries. The toxicity of these molecules depends in their form, their structure, their chemical and physical characteristics, and others. So there are many different nanoparticles in the world. These particles can get into the body by inhalation, absorption, or ingestion. The central problem is nanoparticles getting into the body and start interacting with the cell. So the cell have a negative response, and for the reason the cell's dead. In a big scale, this can produce cancer and disease in the digestive, cardiovascular, and respiratory system. This is significant because the nanoparticle industries grow faster than the studies of the new nanoparticles that they are creating. And this is so worrying because the absence of studies doesn't allow us to know why or what is causing these particles in the natural habitats, and also how these particles are reacting with natural molecules. And in many cases, with natural things or particles, molecules that we have in our body. For instance, to understand more how the particles affect the cell, I'm going to give an explanation with a nanoparticle called fullerene, which is used in the disinfection process of fresh water. So, let's start. We have a cell. This little cell needs electrons, oxygen, and food that is called organic matter to live. So, this little cell wants to eat this very big watermelon, and it can't. The cell broke its connection membrane and gave up some enzymes to break the organic matter tissue in small parts in order to absorb the parts of watermelon. When it happens, the watermelon gives off also electrons and oxygen. In this moment appears the fullerene, which steals the electron realized by the watermelon, and the cell, as it can have the basic to life, dies. So imagine, if the fullerene can do this with a bacteria that in general is a cell, could you imagine what would happen if you drink a great quantity of fullerene in water? Are you sure that this is not happening right now? Now, what about the viable solutions? I consider that the most viable solution is implementing a strategic alliance by government, society, industries, and universities. We need that government and enterprises be conscious about the impact that these particles are causing in our environment and in our health. So we need to study the particles before they leave the laboratory and get out to the world. These studies have to be regulated, watered, and controlled by the government normative. This public and private partnership will work like this. Government and the enterprises will make a contribution with the regulation and fascinating of the studies to generate terms of reference of these particles. The universities will support their knowledge of the study with possible environmental impacts, recommendations about how to control these molecules, these particles, and subsequent neutralization for their correct disposal. The consumers have to be conscious to have a critical consumption of all the products that have these nanoparticles that could affect the environment and the health. And finally, the studies will be published in science journals. Then the the Ministry of Environment will carry out awareness campaigns with communities about the risk and the importance of reading the labels of the products, and the companies will require to replace the risk in the applications of the products. The main limitation of this solution is the low control and the low conscious that society has with these particles, with this new boom in the society. Also, a limitation is the low budget that the enterprises and government institutes left to make studies about the environmental impact that these particles produce. To end, I want to leave you a message. I am to encourage to go further and be a responsible and conscious consumer because your health is at risk. Thank you.